welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my current top 10 favorite palettes that are sold at Sephora and the palettes that I would recommend picking up during the Sephora sale. As we all know, the sale is live. You guys can start shopping. I'm so excited. I love the sale time. It's like my favorite time of year. So I will leave a link to all of these in the description box down below. So let's go ahead and jump into my top 10 current favorite palettes that I recommend on the Sephora website. So we're going to start with one Tom Ford product. They're kind of on my S list at the moment because of that really crappy holiday palette that I just cannot ever recommend on any level. The palette that I do recommend picking up during the Sephora sale is the Nude Dip Palette. I love this palette. This is one of my top 3 favorite Tom Ford quads out of all of my entire collection. It is so beautiful. And by the way, all 4 of the shades are the wet dry formula. I mean, they are so beautiful. I am obsessed with this palette. Highly recommend it. I'm getting to the point where I can't recommend a lot of Tom Ford quads that much now, but the wet dry formula, always beautiful. So like the Body Heat, what is it, Honeymoon Hideaway or something like that. That one is on the list for me to pick up. Any of those wet dry formula palettes, I just recommend. They're so beautiful. And the way that the wet dry formula applies on the lid. So I had to, of course, mention the Nude Dip because it's a beautiful palette. Let's move on to Miss Charlotte Tilbury. So I have 2 products from Charlotte Tilbury. And of course I had to recommend the holiday palette of this year. This palette is so beautiful. These are absolutely pretty. Let me show you guys how gorgeous these are. Wow. I mean, they make the lid shine. And the thing that I like about these, if you don't like that high intensity look like this, like it is in a swatch, you can kind of blend it out and it gives the lid such a beautiful like wet look, but without being too much. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So it kind of accommodates those who really like that intense eye and those that don't. So this is such a beautiful palette. I really love this one. It is the Smoky Eyes Are Forever. Oh, it's so pretty. So I had to mention this one. Now, this is the quad that I always recommend. I pretty much recommend this in all of my recommendation videos. This is one of my favorite Charlotte Tilbury quads. This is the Exaggerize. Pillow Talk is a beautiful quad, but the shades, the one matte shade in that palette is not dark enough for me personally. Whenever I use that palette, I always have to reach for something else. This shade builds so beautifully, and I love Exaggerize. I will continue to recommend it because it's just one of those perfect, beautiful palettes. Such a gorgeous quad, and it's a great palette to pick up during the sale. This is one of those quads that every single time I wear it, somebody asks me, what are you wearing on your eyes? Whether I am at the grocery store, at the gas station, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Somebody will ask me, what are you wearing? These shadows are so complimentary and they're so easy and effortless to apply. Always dependable, always beautiful. My favorite way to use this palette is that I will go in with this matte shade and I will build up the outer corner and I will bring a little bit of it into the crease. And then I go into this really gorgeous shimmer shadow and I put it over top of the crease. And then I also bring it on the lid. Then I grab this wet glossy shadow. Oh, it applies so beautifully. It kind of gives that wet kiss look, but not too much. And then I grab this and I bring that on the inner corner. And sometimes I will also put it up on the brow bone or even on the center of the lid. Like this entire palette, it is just beautiful. It's one of my favorites and I love it. So I always recommend it. Here's the thing, you guys. When I got the Glam Palette, I was head over heels, and I still am, you guys. I still love this Glam Palette. I am absolutely obsessed with this Glam Palette. In fact, the Glam Palette kind of gives you those same tones as the Nude Dip and the Exaggerize, I know. But this is a very beautiful, dependable, gorgeous palette. And I love it. And I still do. Highly recommend it. It's one of those perfect cool tone palettes that also gives you a little bit of warmth with some of the pink shadows in here and the golds. But the mattes are perfect for the color tones in this palette. As many of you guys know, I am obsessed with the mini retro. the Mini Retro is my favorite mini palette of all of hers. These shadows are the shadows that I never knew I needed until I got it, right? So always recommend this. This is on the list. It's always beautiful. This rose gold is so pretty. And then you can top it with this. Oh, you guys, I mean, come on. Those are so pretty. When I found out that she was going to launch a midi size retro, of course I was excited. When I saw the color story, I was like, wait, that doesn't really go with the mini retro. But you guys, I'm kind of obsessed with this palette. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes ever. I love it. I absolutely love these tones. The thing that I love the most about it is that it's not super berry. So she gave you a wide variety. You don't have too much purple. You don't have too much pink. You have some rose tones in here. Like, you have everything. This is like that perfect feminine palette. It is becoming like, I didn't think that the Glam palette could be beat. I'm kind of obsessed with this retro. It's beautiful. So if this has been on your list to pick up, you will not be disappointed in this retro. If you love those colors, ooh, I absolutely love that palette. And then finally, we have the bronze palette. This is just that perfect fall palette. And you can wear this pretty much all year round, but this is my favorite palette to wear during the fall. About a week ago, I did a full fall makeup look and I used this palette. So I will link that video down in the description box down below in case you want to check that out. But this is just such a beautiful, perfect palette that you always need. And now that I have this, I don't feel like I need any other fall palette because it gives me everything I need. It's a must-have. And it's perfect time to pick it up when it's on sale because you can get a good deal on it. Now, many of you guys know at the beginning of this year, I went head over heels and fell madly in love with the Tarte Amazonian Clay palette. And I love this palette so much. Here's the crazy part about this. I wasn't even planning on picking this up. And I saw Mel, she uploaded a video using this palette. And the looks that she was creating and how she liked it, I was like, I might need that palette. It was not even nowhere near on my radar. I hadn't bought a Tarte palette in a while. I kind of got tired of like those C palettes, you know, the circle ones and all of that. And I bought it and I fell hard. I fell hard for this one and I have pretty much used it ever since. So this is no longer available, but you can get the mini version of it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't understand why this is $39 and this was $45. Doesn't make sense. This one has 20 shadows and this has 12. So I'm not sure why this was $45 and this one is $39, but this one is no longer available. But if you missed out on this one, don't feel too bad because this palette, which is like the smaller version of it, this gives you pretty much everything you need. Because in the larger one, a lot of the tones are the same. So this one kind of gives you that variation without giving you shadows that are too close in tone. So what I mean is like, if you look, like this shadow and this shadow, there's not much difference between them. You can see that they look very, very similar, right? So this bigger palette does have a lot of similar shades, like just a lot of similar tones that you really don't need. I mean, even like these two, these are kind of wasted, you know what I mean? This smaller version of it gives you one of everything that you actually really need. It kind of condensed it. What I also like about this is that it's so easy to use. I think that's what I loved the most about that Tarte palette in general, is that it was just so easy to use. Like every look I created, I just loved it. And the mattes are creamy and kind of buttery and flattering on the eye. They're not dry at all. And they kind of end up giving you kind of a shine to the lid. They're just beautiful mattes. The shimmers are stunning and I just love it. It's a really beautiful, like everyday palette that I love having in my collection. So a lot of people always ask me, what are your favorite Mothership palettes? That's hard for me, you guys. It's really hard. Before the Divine Rose one was always between the Midnight Sun. I love this palette. It's so gorgeous, right? Love this. So pretty. It was between the Midnight Sun and the Bronze Seduction. So this is the Bronze Seduction, and I have to tell you, I use the Bronze Seduction the most. I absolutely love this palette. I go back and forth. I can't decide which one I love out of these two. Let me just do this. My 3 favorite Mothership palettes are this one, Bronze Seduction. This rose gold will knock your socks off. It's so pretty. Woo, so pretty. Of course, the Midnight Sun, just a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. You could kind of create the look that I'm wearing on my lid, like using these shadows right here and maybe one of these gold shadows. Like, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. And then the Divine Rose #1. I love this palette. Those are my 3 top favorite Mothership palettes. So depending on what color story you prefer and which color story you like, but those are my 3 top favorite. Just fantastic palettes. And you always want to take advantage of a Sephora sale and pick up a Mothership palette during the sale. This is the Utopian Dream, and this was just launched. This is her newest Mothership, and this is really beautiful, but I feel like the other palettes are easier for me to use, and they're more everyday. This is like more special occasion. The 3 that I just mentioned, the Midnight Sun, the Bronze Seduction, and the Divine Rose, those are more like everyday, just wearable looks, right? So that's kind of why they're on the list and the new one isn't, just FYI. But this palette, now, if you don't want to pay the high price for the Mothership, I get it. It's quite expensive. This is a great option. Now, I didn't love last year's holiday palette. It was, I'm going to be honest, it was junk. It just is what it is. But this one is beautiful, and I love the shades in here, and the mattes are not dry and patchy like last year. The mattes were super dry and super patchy, and this is just really beautiful, user-friendly, very easy to work with, and the tones are just gorgeous. So this I would recommend picking up during the Sephora sale. So that's it, you guys. That's the list. Those are my top 10 most recommended palettes that are available on the Sephora website. Sound out down below in the comment section, what are your favorite palettes on the Sephora website? I'm just really curious to hear your thoughts. So definitely share with us in the comment section down below. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.